Against all odds, the Galactic Defense Academy's massive hangar bay swallowed Specialist Maya Chen whole as she stepped off the transport shuttle. Towering ceilings disappeared into shadow dozens of meters above, and the cavernous space teemed with alien life forms from across the known universe. Maya had expected to be the only human. The Academy had only begun accepting Earth applicants 3 cycles ago, but the sheer alienness of everything still hit her like a physical force. A 7-foot-tall insectoid creature clicked past, mandibles working constantly as it communicated with a floating jellyfish-like being. A quartet of reptilian cadets with gleaming scales marched in perfect unison, their tails swinging in synchronized arcs. Maya clutched her duffel bag tighter and straightened her spine. She'd worked too hard to get here to be intimidated now. Human female. Specialist Chen. The voice came from behind her, deep and resonant, with the distinct harmonic undertones of a Vacrexian. Maya turned to face the source, a blue-skinned humanoid with 4 arms and no visible nose, just breathing slits that pulsed rhythmically on either side of a sharp-angled face. The insignia on its uniform marked it as a senior officer. "Commander," she responded, saluting crisply. "I am Commander Zixtal. You will address me as such." The alien's upper arms remained folded across its chest, while the lower pair held a holographic display. "Your assignment to the Elite Combat Division appears to be an administrative error." Maya blinked but kept her expression neutral. "No error, Commander Zixtal. I qualified in the 98th percentile on all entrance exams." The commander's breathing slits narrowed. "Exams designed for proper species with actual combat potential, not for." Its eyes flicked down Maya's form, fragile curiosities. Around them, other cadets paused to watch the exchange, some chittering in what sounded like amusement. Maya had expected resistance, but the directness still stung. Earth had only recently joined the Galactic Coalition, and humans were widely regarded as an underdeveloped species with little to offer beyond entertainment value. "With respect, Commander, I'm here to train like everyone else." "We shall see." Zixtal's voice carried no warmth. "Report to Simulation Chamber 12 in 15 minutes. Your initial assessment begins immediately rather than tomorrow with the others. Perhaps an early failure will expedite your reassignment to a more suitable division." As the commander strode away, Maya caught snippets of conversations around her. "Another human experiment. She'll shatter her calcium supports in the first gravity shift. Betting pool on how quickly she washes out." Maya took a deep breath. She'd heard worse during her years in Earth's military. She found a quiet corner to stow her bag and quickly checked her combat suit's seals. The matte black material hugged her form, its adaptive nanofabric the most advanced tech Earth could offer, which was likely primitive by Academy standards. Simulation Chamber 12 proved easy to find. It was the one with a small crowd gathering outside to witness the humans' inevitable humiliation. Maya walked past them, head high, into a spherical room that seemed to be constructed entirely of shifting metal plates. Commander Zixtal stood in the center alongside a massive being that appeared to be made of living stone, its surface rippling with veins of magma. The insignia on its chest identified it as Master Drill Instructor Colveric of the Tectonian species. "Specialist Chen reporting as ordered," Maya announced, standing at attention. The stone being turned, molten eyes assessing her. When it spoke, its voice rumbled like an avalanche. "Human, you understand this is an elimination challenge." "Yes, Master Instructor." "No human has survived more than 8 minutes in basic simulation. This is advanced." The creature's mouth didn't move. The words simply emanated from its form. "I understand, Master Instructor." Commander Zixtal's upper arms unfolded to tap commands into a control panel. Simulation KX219. Maximum difficulty. Maya's eyes widened slightly. She'd studied the Academy's training programs. KX219 was designed for final-year cadets, not new arrivals. The stone instructor's magma veins flared brighter. Commander, that exceeds Protocol 4. The human claims exceptional qualification. Zixtal interrupted. Let us see it demonstrated. Master Kolveric turned back to Maya. The simulation begins in 30 seconds. Survival objectives will be revealed during the exercise. Completion parameters. Unknown. Your species limitations have been noted. Maya nodded. Thank you for the consideration, Master Instructor, but I request standard parameters. The crowd outside murmured as her words were transmitted to observation screens. Zixtal's breathing slits pulsed rapidly in what Maya interpreted as surprise or perhaps irritation. As you wish, human. Your funeral arrangements are whose responsibility? The commander's tone suggested this was not an idle question. Earth has no specific customs for Academy failures, Maya replied evenly. Standard organic recycling will suffice. The stone instructor's surface rippled in what might have been amusement. Simulation commencing in 5, 4. Maya centered herself, controlling her breathing as the metal plates of the chamber began to shift and glow. 3, 2, 1. The world dissolved around her, reforming into a hellscape of jagged rock formations under a blood-red sky. Gravity immediately doubled, forcing Maya to her knees. The atmospheric composition alert on her suit's heads-up display flashed warnings. Toxic, corrosive, superheated. Combat Scenario Cake X-219. Vulcan's Forge, announced a synthetic voice. Primary objective, reach extraction point. Secondary objective, neutralize hostile elements. Tertiary objective, recover intelligence packet. Begin. Maya scanned her surroundings, quickly spotting movement on multiple ridges, mechanized combat drones designed to mimic the notorious Scythian Reapers, 8-limbed killing machines that had decimated 3 star systems before the Coalition contained them. A normal person would have despaired. The extraction point glowed faintly on her HUD, nearly 3 kilometers away across impossible terrain, with at least 24 combat units between her and the objective. Instead, Maya smiled. What the Academy didn't know, what her file didn't show, was that Maya Chen had washed out of Earth's Special Forces program, not because she'd failed, but because she'd broken it. She'd completed impossible scenarios by thinking sideways, by refusing the obvious approach, by understanding that sometimes rules existed to be circumvented. The first drone spotted her and launched forward, plasma cutters extending from its forward limbs. Maya didn't run or hide. Instead, she charged directly at it, timing her movements to the microburst propulsion patterns observable in its locomotion. As it lunged, she dropped and slid beneath it, one hand darting up to disconnect the power coupling exposed momentarily during its attack posture. The drone crashed, temporarily disabled. Maya immediately commandeered its plasma cutter, severing it cleanly and appropriating it as a weapon. In the observation room, Zixtal's 4 arms tensed in unison. Unprecedented approach. Master Kolveric's magma veins pulsed. Interesting. The human identifies structural weaknesses rather than engaging with brute force. A lucky observation. The commander dismissed. The terrain will finish what the drone could not. But Maya was already moving, not along the expected path toward the extraction point, but perpendicular to it, toward what appeared to be a superheated geyser field. The observation room fell silent as she deliberately triggered a massive eruption, using the plasma cutter to destabilize a pressure point. Steam and toxic gas billowed upward, creating a momentary smoke screen that confused the drone's sensors. Maya used this cover to advance rapidly, her suit's environmental protections training but holding. 30 minutes into what was expected to be an 8-minute humiliation, Maya had neutralized 8 drones, recovered the intelligence packet from its heavily guarded containment field, and was advancing steadily toward the extraction point despite terrain designed to be impassable to human physiology. Impossible, Zixtal muttered. The gravity alone should have crushed her skeletal structure. The stone instructor's surface had stilled completely, a sign of intense focus among Tectonians. She compensates with minimal movements, conserves energy, Uses momentum rather than fighting it. At the 45-minute mark, Maya Chen stood at the extraction point, the intelligence packet secured and 15 disabled drones scattered across the nightmarish landscape behind her. Her combat suit was scorched and damaged, but her vitals remained steady. She looked directly toward where she knew the observation cameras would be positioned and saluted. The simulation dissolved around her, returning her to the metal chamber. The silence that greeted her was profound. Commander Zixtal stood rigid, all 4 arms hanging limply at its sides. Master Instructor Kolverek's surface had erupted in bright patterns of flowing magma, the Tectonian equivalent of intense emotional response. Simulation KX 219 completed, Maya reported formally, though her legs trembled with exhaustion. Request permission to proceed to Cadet quarters and prepare for tomorrow's standard training rotation. The gathered crowd outside the chamber had grown to at least 50 cadets of various species, all watching in stunned silence. Master Kolverek was the first to recover. Permission granted, Specialist Chen. Then, in a quieter rumble, perhaps we have much to learn from Earth after all. As Maya strode from the chamber, head high despite her exhaustion, she passed Commander Zixtal, who remained frozen in disbelief. The alien finally spoke as she reached the doorway. Specialist Chen. Maya turned. Yes, Commander. Your assignment to Elite Combat Division is confirmed. It wasn't an apology, but in the rigid hierarchy of the Academy, it was acknowledgement. For now, that was enough. The crowd parted as she walked through, whispers following in her wake. No longer mocking, but wondering. One voice, belonging to a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin, spoke loud enough for all to hear. Perhaps humans are not so fragile after all. The final test. Word of Maya Chen's performance in Simulation Chamber 12 spread through the Galactic Defense Academy like a quantum pulse. By morning rotation, cadets from 17 species found reasons to pass by her in the mess hall, some nodding in recognition, others studying her with new interest. The humans as curiosities narrative had shifted overnight to humans as unknowns, which was progress of a sort. Maya ate her nutritional paste, calibrated for human biochemistry, but tasting like wet cardboard, while reviewing the day's training schedule on her datavat. The Elite Combat Division had a reputation for losing 20% of its cadets in the first week. She didn't plan to be among them. Is this seat claimed? The question came in perfect standard, though with the distinctive harmonic overtones of the Lissari species. Maya looked up to see the willowy, iridescent being who had spoken after her simulation. It's available, she answered, gesturing with her spoon. The Lissari folded itself gracefully onto the bench across from her, its segmented body nearly 2 meters tall even while seated. I am Nyx Terrene. It introduced itself, the translucent skin of its face shifting through patterns of blue and green. You have created quite the disturbance in Academy protocols, Specialist Chen. That wasn't my intention, Maya replied, though they both knew it was at least partially true. Intentions aside, results speak. Nyx Terrene leaned forward, lowering its melodic voice. The commander has accelerated the void gauntlet to tomorrow's rotation. Maya's spoon paused halfway to her mouth. That's third-year training. Indeed, the Lissari's colors darkened. No first-year cadet has ever been subjected to it. The survival rate among prepared third years is barely 60%. The implicit message was clear. Commander Zixtal was not simply testing Maya now. This was an elimination tactic. I appreciate the information, Maya said carefully. In the academy, information was currency, and debts were always repaid. May I ask why you're sharing it? Nyx Terrene's skin rippled with amber patterns. Amusement, Maya guessed. Perhaps I placed resources in the betting pool regarding your performance. Perhaps I simply appreciate the destruction of hierarchies. Or perhaps, its voice dropped further. Some of us recognize that the Coalition's continued existence may depend on incorporating new perspectives. Before Maya could respond, a deep gonging sound reverberated through the mess hall, signaling the start of training rotation. Next, Terrain stood in one fluid motion. The Void Gauntlet tests more than physical capabilities. Specialist Chen. It tests the mind's response to isolation and sensory manipulation. Remember that what you perceive may not align with reality. With that cryptic warning, the Lissari glided away, leaving Maya to contemplate what preparation was possible for a test designed to be unpredictable. Throughout that day's training, Maya felt the weight of observation. Master Instructor Kolveric pushed her harder than the other cadets, doubling her repetitions in strength exercises and assigning her the most challenging positions during tactical drills. Yet the Tectonian's molten eyes held something beyond the stern discipline shown to others. Curiosity, perhaps, or evaluation. By contrast, Commander Zix-Tal maintained a rigid distance, addressing her only through other instructors. The commander's breathing slits remained narrowed whenever Maya was in sight, a physiological tell that indicated either stress or displeasure among the Crexians. That evening, Maya sat alone in her quarters, a spare cubicle barely large enough for her bunk and personal storage, reviewing everything she could access about the Void Gauntlet. The official Academy database provided only bare-bones information, an advanced training simulation designed to test psychological resilience and decision-making under extreme conditions. Unofficial Cadet forums told more harrowing tales. Reports of experienced trainees emerging catatonic or with personality alterations. Descriptions of an environment that manipulated perception itself, making candidates question their own senses until they broke. Maya closed her eyes, centering herself with breathing exercises learned during Earth's Special Forces training. If Commander Zix-Tal fought to break her with psychological warfare, the alien would be disappointed. Humans have been breaking each other psychologically for millennia. Sleep came in fits and starts, her dreams fragmented with images of distorted realities and shapeless threats. She woke before the cycle alarm, alert despite her restless night. The message on her datapad was terse. Report to Null Chamber 7. 600 hours. Void Gauntlet Assessment. The small gathering waiting outside Null Chamber 7 consisted of Commander Zix-Tal, Master Instructor Kolveric, and surprisingly, a Medicorp specialist, a gelatinous Morphian, whose transparent body contained visible medical nanites swirling in constant motion. The presence of medical personnel before rather than after training was unprecedented. Specialist Chen. Zix-Tal acknowledged her arrival with minimal inflection. The Void Gauntlet is an advanced assessment typically reserved for cadets who have completed baseline psychological conditioning. Your performance yesterday suggests accelerated capabilities that warrant advanced evaluation. The phrasing was careful, political. Nothing in the commander's words explicitly revealed this as an attempt to wash her out of the program. But the subtext was clear in the tense posture of all four Vicrexian arms. I consent to accelerated evaluation, Commander, Maya responded formally. Master Kolveric's surface rippled. The Void Gauntlet has no time limit. The exercise concludes when you either complete all objectives or signal extraction. Medical monitoring will be continuous. Should your vital signs indicate critical distress, automatic extraction will occur. The Morphian medical specialist burbled in agreement, extending a pseudopod that formed into a small disc. Biomonitor. Place against carotid artery. Maya accepted the cool, slightly damp disc and pressed it against her neck, feeling it adhere immediately to her skin. Specialist Chen's baseline biometrics established. The Morphian confirmed, tendrils of its body forming complex shapes that Maya couldn't interpret. The heavy blast doors of Null Chamber 7 slid open with a pneumatic hiss, revealing an utterly dark interior. Unlike the spherical simulation Chamber 12, this room appeared to be a perfect cube of matte black material that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. The Void Gauntlet begins when you cross the threshold, Commander Zix-Tal stated. Final opportunity to postpone evaluation. Maya met the commander's four pupilled eyes directly. No postponement necessary, sir. Something like respect, or perhaps concern, flickered briefly across the alien's face before it nodded once. Proceed. Maya stepped into absolute darkness. The doors sealed behind her with a finality that sent a shiver down her spine, despite her resolve. For several seconds, nothing happened. Complete sensory deprivation. No light, no sound, not even the vibration of environmental systems. Then reality. Fractured. She was falling. No floating. No, standing firmly but upside down. Gravity shifted constantly, while colors that had no names splashed across her vision. Sounds that couldn't exist assaulted her ears. The noise of light, the whisper of subatomic particles, the screaming of space itself. Maya fought the instinct to panic, to close her eyes, to cover her ears. Instead, she forced herself to breathe methodically. This is simulation, designed manipulation, not reality. Through the cacophony of impossible sensations, a voice, or perhaps the impression of a voice, manifested in her mind. Void gauntlet initiated. Primary objective: maintain cognitive coherence. Secondary objective: locate the constants. Tertiary objective: return to origin. The instructions themselves were a challenge to comprehend as her senses continued to be bombarded with contradictory information. Her inner ear screamed that she was simultaneously spinning and motionless. Her eyes registered both absolute darkness and blinding multicolored illumination. Maya focused on her breathing, using it as an anchor. In, out, regular, controlled. The one constant she could create herself. She began to walk, or what felt like walking, in what she hoped was a straight line. The environment shifted around her, alternating between infinite expanses and claustrophobic compression. Memories and thoughts not her own flitted through her consciousness. The rage of a Tectonian warrior, the collective dreaming of Morphean communities, the multidimensional awareness of a Lissari navigator. Hours passed, or perhaps minutes. Time lost meaning in the void. Just as Maya felt her sanity beginning to fray at the edges, she glimpsed something solid amidst the chaos. A simple geometric shape, a cube floating in defiance of the surrounding madness. It emitted no light yet was perfectly visible. One of the constants, she realized. Moving toward it required fighting against her own perceptions. Each step felt simultaneously forward, backward, and sideways. When her fingers finally touched the cube, it dissolved into her hand, leaving behind a sense of rightness, a fragment of reality restored. Emboldened, Maya began searching more systematically for the other constants. She found a sphere nestled within a memory that wasn't hers, a Vacrexian childhood recollection of first flight, a pyramid hidden in a sound that tasted like metal, a dodecahedron that could only be perceived by deliberately unfocusing her perception of time. With each constant she recovered, the chaotic environment became marginally more comprehensible. Patterns emerged from randomness, purpose from madness. The final constant, a simple cylinder, proved the most elusive. Maya hunted through increasingly stable dimensions of the simulation, her determination never wavering despite exhaustion that penetrated to her cellular level. She found it, finally, in the one place she hadn't thought to look, within herself. The cylinder manifested when she stopped searching externally and turned her awareness inward, beyond physical sensation to the core of her consciousness. As the final constant integrated with the others, the void snapped into sudden, jarring clarity. Maya stood in a simple black cube room, identical to the one she had entered, the origin. The journey had been entirely mental, a maze navigated through perception alone. The doors slid open. Maya stumbled out, blinking against light that felt painfully ordinary after the impossible spectrum she had experienced. Her legs gave way as soon as she cleared the threshold, her body finally registering the toll of extended psychoneural stress. The Morphean medical specialist flowed forward immediately, surrounding her with a supportive gelatinous embrace that somehow felt comforting rather than alien. 17 hours, 22 minutes, 14 seconds. Commander Zixtal's voice came from somewhere above her. The Vacrexian sounded different, subdued. Impossible, another voice murmured. An Academy official Maya didn't recognize. No third year has completed the gauntlet in less than 26 hours. No cadet has ever collected all constants on first exposure. Maya tried to speak, found her throat uncooperative, and had to swallow several times before words would form. Water, she managed. A hydration tube extended from the Morphian's body, offering clean water directly to her lips. Maya drank gratefully. How? Commander Zixtal asked simply, all four arms loose at its sides, a posture of openness Maya had never seen from the rigid officer. Maya looked up at the commander, seeing past the alien features to the genuine bewilderment beneath. Humans, we live in our own heads, she explained haltingly. Our history, full of perception manipulation. Art, music, literature, propaganda, advertising. We're used to questioning reality. Master Instructor Kolveric moved closer, magma veins pulsing with intense patterns. The Void Gauntlet was designed by our most advanced synopsychologists. It should have been incomprehensible to your species' mental framework. Maya managed a weak smile. With respect, Master Instructor, you designed it based on your understanding of how minds should work. Humans, we've never agreed on that. A strange sound emerged from Commander Zixtal, a harmonic vibration that Maya realized belatedly was laughter. The human makes an excellent point, Master Kolveric. Perhaps our xenopsychologists should consult Earth's historical records. The Morphian medical specialist had been monitoring Maya's bio-readings, its body cycling through various diagnostic colors. Human requires rest. Cognitive patterns show fatigue but no damage. Remarkable resilience. Yes, Commander Zixtal agreed, extending a lower arm to help Maya stand. Remarkable indeed. Specialist Chen, you have exceeded expectations. Report to Elite Combat Division at standard time tomorrow. Your permanent assignment is confirmed. As Maya was led away to the medical bay, she saw a crowd had gathered again. Larger than before, with cadets and instructors alike watching in silent contemplation. Among them stood Nyx Terene, the Lissari's skin glowing with patterns of gold and silver. Colors Maya would later learn signified profound respect in their culture. Word spread quickly through the academy. Within a cycle, the story had grown to mythic proportions. The human who conquered the unconquerable, who navigated the void and emerged stronger. Training protocols were quietly revised. Synopsychology texts annotated, assumptions questioned. And in the Elite Combat Division barracks, Maya Chen slept dreamlessly, unaware that she had just changed the Galactic Defense Academy's understanding of humanity forever. 1 week later, when a second human recruit arrived at the academy, they were not met with dismissal or derision, but with curious anticipation, and a training regimen redesigned to accommodate the strange, unpredictable brilliance of Earth's fragile curiosities.